Okay, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. Let me introduce my wife, Meryl Ain. She is the author of the Living Memories Project Journal. And she'll tell you about the Living Memories Project as well. Here she is, Meryl Ain.
Okay. It's really a pleasure to be at the Book Revue tonight. I know it's a busy time of year, and I want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for coming out in this miserable weather. Thank you so much for coming. Tonight we're celebrating my new book, My Living Memories Project Journal, which is a companion to the first book, The Living Memories Project, Legacies That Last, that I wrote with my husband, Stuart, and my brother, Arthur Fishman. Let me begin by telling you a little bit about the first book. When my mother died after a brief illness, I wondered how I was going to manage without her everyday presence in my life. I looked for an optimistic book about moving beyond mourning, and I couldn't find one. I discussed grieving with friends and acquaintances who also had losses, and found out three things. Number one, there are many different kinds of losses, some timely, some untimely, some tragic, some unspeakable. Two, there is no such thing as closure. Those we love are with us in one form or another forever. And three, I learned that individuals embrace many different ways to keep the memories of their loved ones alive. My mother was a big proponent of always having a project. So I decided to make this my project, discovering how to go beyond that wrenching, painful heartache to a happy and productive life. The good news is that I learned how to be happy again. And I'm so gratified that the books have helped others find comfort, strength, and healing in keeping memories alive. Before I embarked on researching and writing the book, I was engulfed with grief. Grief colored everything I did. I was constantly thinking of what I no longer had, and I felt rather sorry for myself. I focused on how my mother died rather than on how she lived. The book gave me a different perspective on life and death. It showed me that they are not separate, but a continuum. Those who go before us do not want us to spend the rest of our lives grieving, but rather to enjoy our lives and to make their memories a blessing. Stuart, Arthur, and I learned about many ways that people find comfort, purpose, and joy in carrying on the memories, values, and passions of their loved ones. For example, Liz and Steve Alderman, who created an amazing foundation in memory of their 25-year-old son who was killed on 9/11 at the World Trade Center. The foundation trains doctors and establishes mental health clinics on 4 continents to treat PTSD. This is what Liz Alderman told us. There was nothing we could do for Peter, but if we could return the survivors of terrorism to life, then that would be the perfect memorial, because Peter so loved life. Singer-songwriter Jen Chapin, who happens to be from Huntington, daughter of the late folk rock icon Harry Chapin, carries on her father's legacy of music and feeding the hungry. And she said about feeding the hungry, that's just what my father did. It just felt natural to us. And she feels that it's comforting and healing to sing and to write a song. my friend Mary Ain, who is here tonight, follows and shares her mother's advice of love many, trust few, always paddle your own canoe. And Mary Ain, wave Mary Ain. Mary Ain and I worked together for 10 years, and I have to say, we said that saying to each other at least 3 times a week, right? And that's how we kept the memory of her mother alive. There's the Wolfer family, whose son, Stuart, was killed in Iraq. And they established the Major Stuart Adam Wolfer Institute, and they carry on his legacy by supporting those serving in the military. We feature 32 stories in the book, and they are all unique and heartfelt. The people we interviewed taught me not to focus on what I do not have, but to appreciate what I do have. And readers have told us that they have been comforted and uplifted by the optimism and resilience demonstrated by those we interviewed. The most memorable part of putting the book together was interviewing the 32 people. Whether they were famous or not, each had an inspiring story to tell. It was awesome to learn from Nick Clooney. You know who he is, the father of George Clooney, the actor, and the brother of Rosemary Clooney and Betty Clooney, who were singers in the 50s and 60s. He believes that the activism of his son, George, in Darfur was a direct result of Nick's grandfather's legacy of social responsibility. So George is keeping his grandfather's legacy alive. There are so many ways, big and small, that we can keep alive the memories of our loved ones. Both Nick Clooney and Yo Chang Ma, another one of our interviewees, advised that a scholarship was a meaningful way to remember a loved one. And this is what Nick said. Think of all the wonderful things. As soon as that awful wrench occurs and the person you love in the deepest corner of your heart breathes his or her last, move as quickly as you can past that to the great, funny, uplifting moments you shared with them. And if you are able to take that positive energy and move it towards something they would be proud to be associated with, then do it. Take the positive energy and create a scholarship in the name of the person you love so much. So, we had done the book as a tribute to my mother, but I wanted to do something for my father as well. And my father was a principal and a teacher in the Brentwood School District for 25 years. So I established a scholarship in memory of my father. And I've been doing that for several years now. And the first year I went, I couldn't believe that, the students were so grateful, but the truth was I got much more out of it than they got, because number one, I met people who worked with my father, retired teachers. I met parents and students who knew my father, and my father had been ill for a long time, and he was more alive to me that night than he had been in a very long time. So I got to speak about him. Every person who is donating a scholarship gets up and speaks and presents it to the student, and it was very cathartic and therapeutic. And it was also wonderful to listen to others speak about their loved ones. So it confirmed for me that dedicating a scholarship, no matter what the amount, helps to keep alive the memories of those who are no longer here. After the first book was published, the three of us did a lot of public speaking. Among our most successful programs were when we conducted workshops and invited participants to show and tell their memories of loved ones. People generously shared their stories. They showed us photos, mementos, letters, and objects that helped them remember. Using a questionnaire, we elicited precious memories, including favorite sayings, foods, recipes, vacations, hobbies, passions, causes, and values. Because the exercise was so well received, I decided to expand on the questionnaire, and I added questions and put together the new workbook, My Living Memories Project Journal. Its goal is to help people focus on how their loved ones lived rather than on how they died. The book provides the tools to create your own Living Memories project and to celebrate the legacies of those who are no longer here. Along with questions and activities, the journal includes quotes from the first book and other sources, along with soothing artwork. And we are currently scheduling more workshops, so if you would like to get a group together of people who would like to share memories of their loved ones using the journal, let me know. So as we are now officially in the winter holiday season, it seems like an appropriate time to not only be grateful for those who enrich our lives today, but to remember the blessings of those whom we are missing. As an unknown author said, when someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. In the new book, people are encouraged to actually count their blessings. We quote 20th century psychologist Abraham Maslow, who created Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He wrote, "The most fortunate are those who have a wonderful capacity to appreciate again and again, freshly and naively, the basic goods of life, with awe, pleasure, wonder, and even ecstasy." And then on the next page, we ask you to take a pen or pencil and make a list of your top 10 blessings. We quote Dr. Seuss, who wrote, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." We ask our readers to list the people, places, and things in your life that bring a smile to your face. They are also blessings, and these include those who are in our lives now, as well as those who are in our hearts and minds forever. While for many this is the happiest time of the year, for those who have had a loss, especially a fresh one, getting through the holidays or life cycle events can be extremely difficult. So it's a good idea to think of those who may be lonely or sad at this season of the year. We've created free downloadable holiday cards on our website, thelivingmemoriesproject.com, which are appropriate for those who are missing loved ones. Check out our holiday season, Christmas, and Hanukkah cards, which send a comforting and caring message of keeping memories alive. Just download, and then you can either print, email, or post on Facebook to show friends and family that you are thinking about them with empathy and compassion. And of course, both of our books make an appropriate holiday gift for those who are missing loved ones at this time of year. I'm honored to say that both of our books have been endorsed by professionals and will be featured as the theme for the Living Memories Project Conference, New Trends and Clinical Interventions in Grief and Bereavement Counseling at the Suffolk-wide JCC on December 16th. Both Stuart and I will be speaking, and I'm really proud that Fordham University will be offering continuing education credits for professionals in the field. In my Living Memories Project Journal, there are also lists offering tips about how to get through holidays and life cycle events after a loss, when everyone is happy and you're not. I'd like to end by sharing with you the holiday list from the book. Make an album or collage of your loved one, especially with family and friends enjoying happy times. Prepare a dish that was a favorite of your loved one and share food memories. Watch videos of special events and uplifting moments involving your loved one. Share a favorite anecdote or story about the person who is gone. Watch their favorite holiday movies and sing their favorite songs. Give your loved ones clothing to the needy. Donate to a charity in memory of your loved one. Light a candle. And if you're just not feeling the holiday spirit, you can try these. If you feel lonely, help those who are less. Volunteer at a soup kitchen, hospital, or nursing home. If it's just too difficult and painful to celebrate in the customary way this year, make a new tradition. So, for example, go on vacation, go to the movies, or just change the venue. Instead of sending your usual cards, send cards or care packages to those in the military and thank them for their service. And of course, it's always a good idea to seek out counseling or a support, a bereavement group. Finally, I want to thank you again for your interest and support. We're really making a great effort to encourage people to share memories of their loved ones on our website, thelivingmemoriesproject.com. So if you would like to post a tribute for your loved one, please visit our website. I hope that you will be as comforted and renewed by keeping memories alive as I have been. I wish you the healing power of living and loving memories during the holiday season and throughout the coming year. May loved ones who are no longer here be with you in spirit, memory, and traditions. Thank you.
I think we have questions. We have the brochure. If anybody's interested in coming to the conference on December 16th at the Suffolk Y, you have all the information here. And we also have some sheets that we,
if you want to post
if you'd like to post your memories, we'll pass these around.
Okay, are there any questions or comments?
Can you buy the books up front?
Yes.
Are they here for sale?
Yes.
Of course. Anything else? Yes, Ellie?
I'm going to ask something, because I love what you said tonight. I lost my mother 3.5 years ago. Still miss her terribly. And I remember when I started to work after graduating from college, I was given a survey, and one of the parts of the survey said, give us, tell us some pearls of wisdom from one of your parents. And for my mother, there were none. Because my mother wasn't, and this sounds wrong, my mother wasn't special to the world, she was special to me. There's nothing that there's no project that she was interested in. She didn't give of herself to the rest of the world. She was just her, which made her special to me, but there's nothing.
Well, I'm sure that you can think about some way that in which she was special to you.
To me,
How?
yeah.
Well, it's all about you. This is not. I think the point is that it's not necessarily about the world, and I apologize if I focused too much on the big picture, on the people who created foundations and wrote songs. But we have, like Mary Ain. I mean, just her mother's saying, or we have Florrie Wachtenheim, who Marcia's sister, who said that on every holiday she follows. Hi, Annabelle. She follows her mother's recipes. Hi. She follows her mother's recipes, and she said that as she composes the holiday menu, she says, "My mother is in my head and my heart," and she makes the foods that her mother made, and then she feels that she's keeping her mother's memory alive when her children and her grandchildren and the nieces and the nephews recognize them. We have somebody who did a memory book. She felt that her children were very young when her father died and they wouldn't remember him. So she took pictures of him with them, and they go through the pictures and they talk about them, and they actually think they remember him, and they were too young to remember him. So I'm sorry if I neglected. It doesn't have to be for the world. It's for you. It is totally for you. But we're interested in everybody sharing their stories. If you take a look at the website, Ann Heller sent me something. It's called A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and she and her daughter Lisa planted a tree. This Prospect Park Society encourages people to plant trees, and they planted a tree in memory of her father. So, you know, that's special to them. We also, in the first book, we interviewed a quilt maker, and she makes memory quilts for people. And some people like this idea, some people are disgusted by it. But they bring articles of clothing of the deceased person. So a woman had her father's ties, and she organized them by color, and she made pillows out of it, and she makes quilts out of fabric, and that's comforting. And there was a man who lost his wife with 3 young children, and he brought her clothing to the quilt maker, and he said he wanted a very large I don't know, blanket or afghan that the 4 of them could snuggle under, and he felt this was a way of keeping his wife's mother alive. So there are many, many different ways, and it's not for the world. I mean, I think if you want to help the world and, you know, donate to a charity in memory of your loved one, that's great too, but it doesn't have to be that. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, thank you, and please look at our website, look at the holiday cards, and please post your memories. We want to create an online community.
You're signing books right up there?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.